Thanks, Dave. Barjo, I was certainly intrigued when I heard about a game that offered a twist on the survival horror genre by having you play as a toddler.
Yeah, I was a little curious as well, and also a bit concerned. In Among the Sleep, you take the first-person perspective of a little toddler who has just barely begun to walk. So don't expect to be able to run away when things get scary.
Whenever you're ready.
Happy birthday, sweetie.
It's your birthday! You've just turned 2 years old and Mummy has some birthday cake for you. Oh, boo, 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 boo.
Stop that.
Sorry.
Chugga, 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 choo, choo.
Yes, but after a mysterious guest arrives, you're left alone in your room, and then things get dark. Very dark.
Well, you're not completely alone.
Thank you.
You have this birthday bear to keep you company in the darkness.
Something's not right.
Which is supposed to be some sort of consolation, but if that's the case, maybe try making the bear a little less creepy.
My name is Teddy. Nice to meet you. Let's play a game.
Get that thing away from me.
Yeah, that thing is creepy.
I want to show you something. We need someplace very dark.
After you start to explore the house, the reality of your baby movements start to sink in. You can walk, but it's more of a slow, ungainly waddle, and you can only do it for a short period of time. Crawling is much faster than walking, but you will need to stand again anytime you need to use your hands.
This is a really interesting device in terms of placing limitations on the player and creating a suspenseful environment.
You don't know what might be listening.
And being in the body of a helpless toddler in a game with sinister themes is already pretty scary. Large, looming, shadowy shapes seem to create terrifying monsters all around you before you even encounter any.
When things get too dark, you can hug your teddy closer to create some light around you. And just getting from one room to the next is a challenge, as you need to clamber up onto chairs just to reach door handles. And at this point, you don't even know what the threat is.
Yeah, and there's suspense just in the not knowing, isn't there? The only thing you do know, your mother is nowhere to be found.
She's not here.
So you'll have to find her. And this is where things start to get quite strange.
Whoa. What is this place?
Yes, you enter Surreal Fairytale realms as part of your quest to find your mother, which are an odd mix of fantasy peppered with objects and symbols of the baby's home life. By locating memories and using them as keys into the next world, you start to try and collect pieces of a larger story and meaning.
Yes, at times it's very Alice in Wonderland with the dreamlike oddity of it all, isn't it? And also being so small, you feel like you're in a land of giants as pieces of furniture and towering trees twist together to create a bizarre and frightening world. And of course, there is the monster.
Yes, I like that no matter where you go in this world, the threat of the monster is always there. You can hide from it by crawling under furniture or into a cubbyhole. But your best bet is just to be as quiet as possible and try not to draw attention to yourself.
It's not always easy to be quiet though. I mean, the level design will challenge your baby stealth with obstacles designed to make life difficult for you. Also the fact that your toddler waddle isn't exactly the most agile of movements. It was an interesting mechanic, I thought, though not used nearly often enough. In fact, my encounters with the monster were pretty few and far between, so I was rarely hiding or worried for my safety, really.
Yeah, there just wasn't enough threat, was there?
No, the focus is really on solving basic puzzles to unlock the next area.
Yeah, but even those were far too simple. I wanted the game to use more of the child's mobility limitations in the puzzle elements. Maybe the bear, as creepy as it was, could have played a larger role. I just think there were too many wasted opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, just because we're playing a child doesn't mean we don't want to be challenged as an adult.
And maybe that's where they ran into conflict.
Yeah, I mean, I think this game rests heavily on creating these unique environments and then having the player try to piece together a story based on what they see. But sadly, the gameplay is just too simplistic, so you'll burn through it all quite quickly.
And even though you are able to start to get a clear idea of the underlying message of this game, the ending is actually quite abrupt and maybe didn't have enough thought or care to it.
Yeah, and there are actually other games we reviewed. Like, do you remember Papo and Yo? That dealt with similar themes of a child trapped in a frightening situation. But I remember that game really caused us to develop a strong connection. The mechanics weren't great, but it allowed that harsh reality to filter through in a way that really built up to an emotional conclusion. Whereas in Among the Sleep, you're right, it really feels abrupt and almost incomplete in a way.
It's a shame because there are so many great ideas with this, and I really enjoy delving into each layer of this strange world from the perspective of a 2-year-old. I think it's incredibly inventive in that respect.
Yeah, just the imaginativeness of it all is just wonderful, isn't it? Finding all those links between the child's bedroom and this surrealist landscape was really great. And I love games that are daring enough to deal with themes like this, but for me it just needed a little bit more complexity, and ultimately I was disappointed by the ending.
What are you going to give it overall, Hex?
I'm going to give it 6.5. I think it's worth a playthrough because it's short and unique, but a little bit more thought needed to be put into the progression of both challenge and story.
Yeah, I agree. I'm giving it 6.5 as well. And let's hope we never ever have to see that scary bear ever again.
I think we'll have to bid each other fare thee well.